It looks like we have another new palette from Bella Beauté Bar, and I gotta say, I feel like they're doing an awful lot these days. It feels like maybe, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago I talked about a new palette of theirs, and now we have another one. This is coming out on the 15th of December. It's called the Angles of Illumination. I have to say a massive thank you to Makeup on Your Radar. I took their pictures. They do also have an affiliate code, so if you do want this, you can get 10% off using the code RADAR10. But let's talk about this one because I have some thoughts. This is a fully magnetic removable pan palette, which I think is super, super smart. So you could obviously use some of your Bella Beauté Bar singles or maybe even shadows that you have from other brands and pop them in to make more of a palette. Now, what I think they've done very, very smartly here is they have 15 duochrome shimmer shades and one multichrome. I think this is very, very smart because these are the shades that they seem to do the best. And I've said it before, if you do really interesting duochromes, either do like half the palette as duochromes and half as mattes, or do a full duochrome multichrome palette. And this is essentially what they've done. It's retailing for $69, so it is not inexpensive. As I said before, you can get a code for 10% off, so that will bring you down to about, $62-ish. So that's not too bad. For me, they're quite expensive to get here because of shipping, etc. Now, I haven't found any sort of swatches of this yet, so keep an eye out for releases and rants at the weekend where I'll talk about this a little bit more fully and we can see some of the swatches, hopefully by then. I'm going to reserve judgment on this because I don't know what it's going to look like until I see that. Look, I get it. Brands gotta hustle. It is tough when you're an indie brand to get things to kind of go your way and you have to innovate and do new things. I just think that this many releases is a bit much when it's an indie brand, right? I feel like indie brands in general, people love to support them because we get to know the owners, we see kind of the thought process behind that, and that's really fun for a lot of us as consumers. Like, I love that. But this is very, very difficult then if you are a fan to kind of keep up with it. Because again, these are the sort of brands that you are more likely to kind of become a little bit more of a collector for, a bit more of a completionist. So for me, I kind of feel like they needed to step back ever so slightly. And there's nothing negative about this palette. I actually think this is quite interesting and I think they've put together some nice tones. I can't tell obviously what they look like without the swatches because of the duo and multi-chrome element of it. But I just think maybe pausing a little bit would be really, really helpful. And I don't know if this is necessarily the best time to come out with a new palette because it's just after Black Friday, it's coming up to Christmas, people don't have the money. It just doesn't feel like the best of times. I do feel like $69 isn't the absolute worst for a 16 pan palette that is duochromes, multichromes, etc. I've seen far higher prices for indie brands and I do like Bella Beauté Bar's formula. I do think they're very, very good. But again, as I said, I just think it's a little bit too much. It's hard to keep up with. And I think just for me, and I'm just speaking on myself here, I get a bit overwhelmed kind of and a bit like of palette fatigue almost when there's brands kind of coming out with something new every single week. Like it's just too much. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Are you here for this or no?